Welcome back to the Armenian Museum of America. I'm Gary Lynn Sinanian, the curator, and I'd like to discuss Thanksgiving and cookbooks with you. I was asked to do an episode on Thanksgiving and how Armenians celebrate Thanksgiving. The problem is it's not an Armenian celebration. It's strictly an American creation, the idea of Thanksgiving. And so if you use the term Thanksgiving in Armenian, gohobanachun, only American Armenians will understand what you're talking about because it's not part of our tradition. But in America, we all celebrate Thanksgiving, as does everybody. And one thing we all do is everybody, no matter what ethnicity, eats a lot of food. And so I thought I'd show some of our cookbooks, things that related to food, of course. The earliest cookbook we have is actually this one here in 1907, and it was published in Istanbul. And it is actually in Armeno-Turkish. The alphabet is Armenian, but the language is Turkish, because it was designed for that particular demographic. They were trying to sell books to that group there. The earliest one we have in Armenian is 1914, published in Marsavan, which is north of Sebastia, in the interior. And then we have a cookbook here published in Marseille, France, in 1953. There's one from Fresno in 1922. But everybody loves to eat. The early cookbooks have very, very brief descriptions. Take two potatoes, etc. That's about it. Because the fine details, they assumed everybody could cook, which people could, of course, and they can basically figure it out. Nowadays, cookbooks tend to be much more detailed as far as how many times you stir it, etc. But back then, it was very generalized, the information there. And the cookbooks deal with many different areas. Collection. This is a cookbooks from the Soviet period. These are family cookbooks that somebody was writing grandma's recipes. These are cookbooks that are published by the various ladies' guilds of the churches. And a lot of the churches publish the cookbooks of the favorite recipes of various members of the ladies' auxiliary. Some of these are real classics that everybody had. Everybody had a copy of this cookbook here, which is by AGBU. In Watertown, Rose Boyajian's cookbook was, everybody loved Rose's cookbook. George Mardikian's cookbook, which is for the Omakayam restaurant in California. Nani Hagrogian's cookbook, this is actually her mother's cookbook, Rachel Hagrogian. But her daughter Nani did the illustrations to it. And it's a wonderful, very charming cookbook as far as that goes, very visual. These are some other cookbooks in the collection. This one is published, Barbara Gazarian is here in the Boston area. And this book is Buzzy Baxter. And Buzzy has a website, and he posts Armenian recipes on his website. And so he pulled a lot of the recipes together as a cookbook right here. Other cookbooks we have more anthropologically oriented. This cookbook here, which, home again, Armenian recipes from the Ottoman Empire. We sell this in the gift shop. And this goes into not so much the recipes, as all the information about the topography, the geography, why those vegetables were used, what were the local produce, etc. Because cooking is very regionally specific, and the recipes reflect what's available for the cooks in order to use. This is another one which talks about the folklore of the cooking, fact and fiction, and some of the stories behind these, why they were created, or the jokes about them, etc. Very entertaining to read. And this one is a rather interesting one, From Meadows to Kitchens, Grandma's Secrets. And this is the recipes used in the countryside of Armenia today. And one of the interesting things about these recipes is that in the countryside, they kept a lot of the old recipes because the logistics were so poor that you couldn't get the ingredients from the cities, etc., so that you had to make do with what you had in the countryside. So as a result, you kept using the same ingredients that Grandma used. And so these recipes kept being used. Even in the city, the foods got more sophisticated, or they changed depending on what foods came in. But in the villages, they maintained the old ways because that's all they had. And so this is very interesting in that regard, talking about the ways of Armenia. And so we have, like I said, over 100 cookbooks in our collection. And if you ever come to the museum, you're welcome to go through them. Of course, nowadays with the internet, so many of these recipes, or comparable recipes, are available on the internet as well. But this is still a wonderful slice of Armenian history. The Armenian Museum is here to share our stories, our culture, history with you, the public. We thank you for joining us. The museum is open Thursday through Sunday, 12 to 6. Well, I hope you can come some day and visit the museum, and we'll be happy to share our stories with you. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, stay safe.